This ferocious product of the Dominican Republic would often carry his drunk father home after softball games, yet had to bear an even heavier load on his shoulders while having to prove himself for the duration of his baseball days on his way to 700 homers. We will find out all about Albert's struggles and triumphs that you never knew. We will take you on a ride in car 402 through some of his extreme highs and lows in his career as we find out the true secret sauce to this incredible underdog story. So sit down and enjoy the story of Albert's home run battles with history's best and see every incredible detail that paved the road to the elite and legendary 700 Club. It is a rare feat to achieve greatness in anything, but some manage to do it in more ways than one. In the world of Major League Baseball, there are only 4 men who have hit 700 homers in their career. Albert Pujols, the 402nd pick in the 1999 draft, became the 4th member of this club on September 23, 2022, cementing his place in history. The all-time leader is Barry Bonds with 762 home runs, a record that may never be broken. For now, the 4 members of the 700 Club can enjoy their place in baseball lore. Albert's unique road to 700 might prove as the most miraculous of them all. As any baseball fan knows, Albert Pujols is one of the best players in the game. However, what many people don't know is that Pujols' path to stardom began in the Dominican Republic, where he was introduced to the game by his father. Albert would actually play catch with limes before he even had a baseball. And it's not a secret, his dad used to drink, and Albert would regularly have to carry his dad home from the drunken softball games. Albert would never touch alcohol because he saw what it did to his dad. Albert never forgot where he came from, but more on that later. The Pujols family immigrated to the United States when Albert was 16, and they eventually settled in Independence, Missouri by way of New York City. He couldn't speak English, which alienated him from the other students, but he could hit. Early on, Albert was a hitting machine. In his own words, "I was always good at this game." He shattered records left and right in high school. He was dominating at-bats so much that nobody would even throw to him. During his junior year, he walked 55 out 88 times at bat. But for some reason, he went relatively unnoticed and had to play community college ball. In college, Albert played shortstop and hit .461 and smashed 22 home runs in his freshman year. One shocking feat that Albert performed in his first ever game of college baseball is coming up later in the video, as he did the unthinkable. So stay tuned for the conclusion, and we will reveal one of the most astonishing games of baseball you have ever dreamed of by Albert Pujols, and it happened in his first college game. Pujols impressed Major League scouts with his play at the collegiate level, and he was selected by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 13th round of the 1999 draft. Imagine selecting a player that would become one of the greats in the 13th round. In the comments section, please let us know of any other comparable players you think stack up to Albert that were taken before him in the 99 draft. Since being drafted, Pujols has gone on to become a 10-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, and 2-time World Series champion. It is safe to say that Pujols' father would be proud of his son's accomplishments, yet there was a team that almost stole this elite record-breaking MVP, but changed their mind. So find out who that was later in the video. It's hard to believe that it's been approximately 20 years since Albert Pujols made his Major League debut. Back in 2001, Pujols was a relatively unknown player who was expected to spend the season on the bench. But Pujols had other plans. He played in 161 games, hit 37 home runs, and drove in 130 runs. His outstanding performance earned him the NL Rookie of the Year award. Pujols has gone on to have a Hall of Fame career, but his rookie season remains one of the most impressive in baseball history. And who knows what would have happened if Pujols had stayed on the bench? We'll never know, but we're certainly glad he didn't. In the years following his rookie season, Pujols continued to impress with his offensive numbers. He was twice named the National League's Most Valuable Player runner-up, losing out to Barry Bonds in 2002 and 2003. In 2004, he was named the Silver Slugger Award winner at first base, an honor that he would receive again in 2001, 2003, and 2004. Finally, in 2005, he was named the National League MVP after hitting .330 with 41 home runs and 117 RBIs. All of this success should be attributed to his steadfast work ethic, but there is a secret sauce for Albert. For Albert Pujols, being a Christian is a big part of his life. In fact, he says that in the Pujols family, God is first. Everything else is a distant second. Pujols is not shy about his faith, and he often uses his platform to share his beliefs with others. On wearing the number 5, Albert said, "If you know the Bible, it's the number of grace." While some athletes use their fame to promote themselves, Pujols uses his to promote his faith. And that is something that deserves a lot of respect. The bedrock of his playing success has always been his family and his faith. In 2006, Pujols had a batting average of .331, hit 49 home runs, and knocked in 137 RBIs. He was the MVP runner-up for the third time in his short career. That year, he experienced his greatest postseason success when he helped lead St. Louis to a 4-1 win over the Detroit Tigers in the World Series. The Tigers were heavily favored, but Pujols and the Cardinals came out on top. It was a great year for Pujols and an even better year for Cardinals fans. Yet the Cardinals almost lost him at the beginning of it all. Did you know the Red Sox had their eye on Albert Pujols and planned to draft him? Could you imagine what would have happened if the Boston Red Sox had drafted Albert Pujols in the first round of the 1999 MLB draft? For starters, they would have landed one of the greatest hitters of all time. Talk about a game changer. Of course, we will never know what would have happened if things had gone differently. But it's fun to think about Albert in a Boston Red Sox uniform. In 2008, Pujols was named NL MVP after finishing the season with a .357 batting average and 116 RBIs. The following year, he hit .327 with 47 home runs and 135 RBIs and won his third NL MVP award. Not bad for an undrafted player at a school. In 2011, he had a decline in production and was batting under .300 for the first time in his career. However, despite his lowered production, Pujols still managed to hit 37 home runs and drive in 99 RBIs. And while his performance may have been lackluster compared to his heyday, it didn't prevent the Cardinals from staging one of the biggest comebacks of all time to qualify for the postseason. So although Pujols may have been past his prime at the time, he proved to be a valuable asset to his team. That comeback year, they fought back from 8.5 games out of the wild card to eventually go on and defeat the Texas Rangers in the World Series. This was outstanding and one of the highlights of Albert's career. Shortly after this historic win, Pujols left to go play with another team. In 2011, his contract situation got sticky, and he didn't sign an extension. Being one of the most sought-after players in Major League history, the race for this proven superstar was furious. In the end, he signed with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for 10 years and $250 million. In that first year, he posted some of his worst numbers as a pro at that time, as in that first year as an Angel, he only hit 30 home runs and batted .285. Which is pretty laughable that those numbers weren't great for Albert, but hey, that's just a testament to his greatness. At this point, we had seen prime Albert Pujols. How exactly does he compare to Barry Bonds, though? Well, let's find out. In order to make this fair, we have to look at pre-chemical Bonds, so that would be before 98. So 1986 to 98, Bonds versus 2001 to 2013, Pujols. The following is a summary and comparison of their first 13 years, essentially. Pujols in this time has had 60 games more played, but this is still very even for our purposes. So let's go to the tape of Bonds versus Pujols. In those respective time frames, Pujols' batting average was .321, where Barry Bonds batted a lower .290. Pujols accumulated 2,347 hits to Bonds' 1,917 hits. Bonds outwitted Pujols in on-base percentage, .404 to .399. Extremely close, but edge to Bonds. In the mighty home run duel, Pujols hit 492 to Barry Bonds' 411. Considering Pujols' slight advantage in games played, he still wins this dinger comparison just by a slight margin. Pujols hit 1,031 extra base hits to Bonds' 877. Advantage, Pujols again. In RBIs, Pujols tallied 1,498 to Barry's 1,216. And speed around the diamond, it wasn't close. Barry stole 445 bases to Albert's 93. Barry Bonds was also walked a lot more by a margin of approximately 300 times. And in those years, each player won MVP 3 times. So tell us in the comments section who you picked as being the better player in their prime and why. We want to hear from you. But continuing on in the Albert Pujols career story, in 2012, he would post even worse numbers than his already declining stats, and in 2013 suffer a partially torn foot ligament that sidelined him for the rest of the year with 60-plus games remaining in the season. He bounced back in 2014 by batting .272 and driving in 105 runs. Despite finishing 2015 with a new career low at .244 average, and he hit 40 home runs. In 2016, he led the Angels with 116 RBIs while batting .268. On June 3, 2017, Pujols became the 9th player in history to hit 600 career dingers. Pretty big landmark 600 was, and now the talk was starting to swirl. Could he reach 700 big ones? Albert's most impressive game didn't come in the majors. It was actually in college, where he would pull off one of the craziest games in the history of the sport. Maybe the most impressive game of all time ever, period. Pujols did not get drafted out of high school, so he went to play at local Maple Woods Community College. In his first college game, Pujols, then a shortstop, turned an unassisted triple play and hit a grand slam. This was in the same game. No player has ever done that in well over 200,000 major league games. To think the only time it was ever done on record was in his first college game is just beyond incredible. Undrafted? I'll show you. But his career was always bigger than accolades and MVPs. Albert has been a larger MVP in the charity world, giving his time and hard-earned money to causes he believes in. Pujols is involved in charities that serve the poor in the Dominican Republic, as well as starting his own charity for kids with Down syndrome. He focused his efforts on helping kids with Down syndrome because his own daughter has the disability as well. "We did not choose Down syndrome. Down syndrome chose us," Albert said. What a class act. The Angels put up their worst season since Pujols was on the team with a 72-90 record. Albert hit 23 homers that year. 2020 was the COVID season in which Pujols struggled, and then in 2021 he signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The following year he rejoined the Cardinals for what he announced would be his final season in baseball. Later in 2022 he hit his 700th career home run in Los Angeles versus his former team, and he did it even more dramatic fashion by hitting 2 in the same game. With the crowd on their feet, he walloped homers 699 and 700 to become just the 4th player to reach that milestone. Imagine coming all this way from being the 402nd pick in the MLB draft to breaking the big 700 milestone. When Albert Pujols entered the MLB, nobody could have predicted the level of success he would go on to achieve. His accomplishments have placed him among the greatest hitters of all time, and his name will go down in history as one of the game's legends. Pujols has surpassed all expectations, and his legacy will continue to inspire future generations of players. So make sure to like and subscribe to MLB Gems for more awesome baseball videos.